to Aaron Boone. Let's just say, starting now, the Yankees are going to stick with whatever lineup you're going to go with for the rest of the month. They're going to ride it out. Whatever this lineup is, this is the deal going on for the rest of the month. Tom, what do you got?
Yeah, so I think what you said there surprisingly was smart, Rich, and it is the important thing is that the Yankees need a general lineup. They're gonna have some tweaks to it, but they need to stick with it for some amount of time. Give me 2 weeks with the same lineup again. You want to do a little bit of changing in and out. Your Gleyber's coming in, and that sort of stuff. Fine, whatever. But they need to stick with a lineup. And here is what I came up with. Leading off is no one's favorite Yankee, Aaron Hicks. Aaron Hicks is slashing 333, 438, 882 this season. He has been getting on base. You need guys at the top of the line to get on base. He's a switch hitter. He's not the fastest guy anymore, but let's be honest, really no one in the Yankees lineup is fast. No one's stealing bases out there until we get to IKF later. I have Hicks leading off, playing center field. 2 and 3, I easily could flip-flop, but I ended up deciding on Judge. Doing, he's hitting, he's slugging 779 this year, so it's below average for him, but he's still Aaron Judge. He's gonna rebound, and if he would maybe play every day, he'd get a little bit of rhythm going, and he'd be good to go. Third, I have Rizzo. Now, we mentioned before, Rizzo is batting 212, but he's a 381 on base. He's taking his walks. He gets hit 1,000 times a year, and he's slugging 896. He's the highest slugging percentage on the team. I kind of really wanted him second. I just couldn't. I don't know. I think I didn't want all those righties in a row. Not going to go through all the stats for everyone moving forward, but Stanton fourth, LeMahieu fifth. I do have Gallo sixth. Joey Gallo needs. Listen, if you have Joey Gallo on this team, he's a streaky player. He needs to play. If he's not playing, he's useless. He's worthless. You have to let him get hot. And if you're not going to do that, then you just give him away for nothing because he's going to do nothing for you on the bench. He's not a guy that's going to come in and be a good pinch hitter. You need him to play. Seventh, I have Donaldson, who has he has won 2 games with his offense this year, but he is he's hitting 200 on base of 256. Not great. Eighth, I have the catcher. Obviously, Trevino has been good. He's if you look at his stats,
500
on base, 1.1 OPS. It's it's what 2 games, 3 games. It's silly numbers. Doesn't matter at this point. Higgy struggling on base of 120, slugging 280, which is
and he had a good spring too.
He sure did have a good spring. Well, it's because again, I don't know, Corey. I don't know how much Yankee baseball you watch, but Kyle Higashioka loves fastballs, and anything that has a wrinkle in it, he struggles with. So, considering a lot of spring training games, guys are just working their fastball, he's gonna crush it. When I was down there in Tampa, seeing him take batting practice is a bit of a sight. He does crank out BP fastballs.
Nice.
Anything that has a curve in it, little struggle. And then I have IKF at short. Rounding out the lineup, who's also been bad, but also is not very good offensively in general. But at least he gives you a little bit of speed on the bottom of the lineup. Hopefully he could move some guys around. And
my thing with the Yankee lineup is when the Yankees were successful the last few years, DJ LeMahieu was either batting 1, 2, or 3 in the order. Okay. I am at a loss for why the Yankees believe that batting him 5th is now better for this team when he is by far and away your most consistent hitter in this lineup. Now, granted, he didn't bat 330 last year. He was batting, I think his final average for the year was around 275. But as far as I'm concerned, DJ needs to be either the catalyst to start the lineup or the presence in the middle of the order to get hits and not strike out. When you have Judge, Stanton, Rizzo, and Gallo batting in succession, that's a lot of strikeouts. There's a lot of outs. There's a lot of way to get all 4 of those guys out. When you split that up with DJ, that is one person that you do not want to face with men on base. And I'm sure, aside from Judge, I'm sure of all the guys that you don't want to face in that lineup, he's at the top when runners are in scoring position. So for me, I have no problem with Rizzo batting first. He's done a good job there. I still don't think the Yankees can trust Hicks long term. So to me, putting Hicks in that position is going to put them in a weird spot. I would do Rizzo, Judge, LeMahieu, Stanton. All right, you have lefty, righty for the first 4 bats in the lineup. Okay, I would still consider batting Donaldson 5th. All right, if you have to have Gallo in that lineup, I would have him 6th, no higher than that. And then I would have Hicks 7th, Higgy 8, and IKF 9. All right, I think that gives you the most balanced start to finish. At the end of the lineup, IKF is a contact hitter. He's going to turn that lineup over and bring it to your power guys. But to me, DJ has to get the most opportunities with men on base. He's not doing that in the 5-hole. He's not breaking up the power.
I mean, he's gonna have more men on base in the 5-hole than he would leading off because the bottom of the lineup has Higgy. Yeah, but Higgy and IKF don't get on base, so he's gonna always come up with no one on base. Hicks, I think, is Hicks is, if he can, now granted, it's 10 games in the season, it's not a crazy long sample size, but he is a better leadoff type hitter. He sees pitches. He doesn't like to swing, if we're being honest. He loves walking. He has been hitting this year. Gets him on. At Judge and Stanton are guys that, although they do strike out a fair amount, they're not Gallo type players that bat 200. You know, they do tend to hit in the high 200s, even though they are sluggers. And then you have Rizzo in there too. I think that gives DJ a good chance for RBIs in the middle of that lineup. I think it's also going to have DJ give some protection to a guy like Stanton. I think Gallo behind Stanton is bad because everyone, at least at this point, when Gallo's cold, you know you could just walk Stanton and Stanton will chase pitches if you don't throw him strikes, and then to get the Gallo. You know you're not going to get that from DJ. So if you get Hicks on base, basically what I'm trying to do is score runs the top 5 guys in the lineup. That's what you're going to have to do at this point.
My thing is the chances of you getting to the 5 position through Gallo with less than 2 outs is slim to none.
Well, Gallo at this point, so
Gallo at this point is an automatic out. I don't want my best guy hidden with runners in scoring position. You get one guy on in the first inning, your inning's over once you get to Gallo. Okay.
Yeah, but I have Gallo hitting 6th. The Gallo, I don't have Gallo most definitely come up in the first inning.
All right,
and with Gallo behind LeMahieu, DJ is someone who isn't going to expand the strike zone so much. So if they are pitching around him, he'll take his walk. Now, granted, at some point, Gallo's a guy who's going to run into some, and if you can just keep walking LeMahieu and Stanton in front of him, you get a couple 3-run bombs out of Gallo. It works. I know that it doesn't look like it has at this point, but that's what I'm thinking. Rich, I know you want to talk, which makes me want to mute you, but I guess you should give your lineup.
Listen,
as well.
most of my audience loves the fact that I'm not going to talk, but actually, I'm going to throw the reins over to Corey. Hi, Corey. How are you?
Good. How you doing, sir?
What do you got? What do you got on your side, Corey? Gallo leading off?
I do not have Gallo leading off. I'll tell you what. After watching Hicks, I want to say Hicks leading off. I really do.
I don't.
But
you should.
I'll tell you what. After watching him on Friday night, bases loaded, 1 out, 3-0 count, double play, I think I'm going to agree with Jay Hertz and Karif. I'm going to send him to the Ukraine. So Hicks is in the Ukraine.
Damn it, God.
I'm going to go with DJ LeMahieu leading off, batting second. Rizzo at first. I'm going to put Rizzo batting 2. I hate this from a fielding standpoint, but I'm just trying to maximize the lineup. I'm going to do Judge 3 in center field. They never do this. The Yankees, I've never seen them actually do this, and maybe it's time to change it because obviously what's happening now ain't working. I'm going to go Stanton right field. I'm going to go Stanton 4. I'm doing Judge and Stanton back to back, and we could talk all the lefty. Or we could talk all the lefty righty you want. Honestly, I could care less about that right now because it clearly ain't working with the way you're doing it. So I want a bullpen guy to come in the game, 8th inning, guys on base, Judge is on, 1 out, and you get him out. You're like, oh, I got this guy out. But guess what? You got Stanton, who's just as dangerous right behind him. Now you got to go a second time to get him out. So I'm going Stanton cleanup right field 4. Get this guy more outfield time. It's time. You're making that much money. Play the damn field. You had a good arm when you used to play there too. Donaldson, third base, batting fifth. Again, I'm with Tom on this one. I'm going Gallo, sixth in left field. I'm going to put Torres here at the DH spot. Let's go Torres, 7. I want to give him at least a little bit of run. If you're not seeing it at the deadline, it's time to give up, trade him, move on, upgrade. And then I'm going Higgy and Isaiah Kiner-Falefa. I actually love what Joe said before about him batting ninth to turn it over. So I agree with him right there on that. And that's the way I'm rolling.
I'm going defense first with this, and I'm with Joe on the Gallo-Torres split. I feel like if one person's going to be in the lineup, the other cannot be in that lineup, and you have to juggle around that the infield scenario. But for this case, since I'm running the team, I'm telling Glaber, you're sitting, buddy. You're on the bench, man. Have fun. Prove yourself and get back in this lineup, because I'm going defense first with it, and I'm going to try to split up. I want to try to split up the all-nothing guys, but it's impossible to do with this lineup. So the best I can do is at least split up.
The Yankees don't have nearly as many of all-nothing guys that I think everyone thinks they do.
All right. Thanks for that, Tom.
Joey Gallo is a 3 true outcome guy. The Yankees don't have other 3 true outcome guys, really. They really don't.
But the problem
Donaldson
is
really
if the Yankees aren't hitting home runs,
you can give me Donaldson, but like I'm sorry, just like I get really annoyed when people say that Judge and Stanton are just like, they're not 3 true outcome guys. They're not. But
they're not scoring if they're not hitting home runs. They're a base. They're a base.
No,
to base
but
team.
like I said, if you're talking slugger wise, like Stanton hit 273 last year. Like
Yes,
you would think Stanton's a guy who would hit 210.
He's a good
hit.
hit.
The
problem
is the same kind of guy. They get on base. They're not. They're not those guys.
Missiles.
But the problem is they're all base to base guys. You know, Rizzo's not scoring from first on the gapper, so you have to string hits together with these guys in the lineup. That's a very hard thing to do when these guys are predicated on power. When Rizzo, Stanton, Judge, and Gallo are basically in succession, you have to string 4 hits together, because if Rizzo's the first guy on base, he needs at least 2 to 3 hits to get him around. And they got to, and when they get in the gap, they got to go in the gap. I mean, he's not going first to third on a single to right field, you know.
Here's my batting order. I'm going to try to throw it out there real quick. I got LeMahieu leading off second base, Rizzo hitting first, lefty, then Judge and Stanton, then Hicks, who's been off to a great start. And yeah, we want to send Aaron Hicks to the sun. I'm with it, but he is having a good start to the year. I think nothing better than splitting up the entire lineup with the lone switch hitter in there. He's batting 5th. Then I got Donaldson hitting 6th at third base, IKF hitting 7th at shortstop. Then I got Joey Gallo hitting 8th. Fuck you, Joey Gallo. I have you batting 8th. No, again, lefty, splitting up some of the righties, and then the catching scenario, whether it's Trevino or Higgy, doesn't really matter. That's my 1 through 9. You have righties in between each of the left-handed at-bats if they're facing a right-handed pitcher, with Hicks obviously swinging it over to the left-hand side. That's what I'm looking at more than anything. It's just kind of splitting up the left-handed at-bats there. But that's what I got.
I got you. And listen, I'll tell you what. We came into the season thinking the Yankee lineup was all that. I gotta tip my hat to the pitching staff right now. I mean, really, the only guy that I'm not tipping my hat to is the ace of the staff in Garrett Cole. I mean, Nestor looked phenomenal. You got a great outing from Severino the other day too. I have no complaints about the pitching staff so far outside of Cole. It's the bats.
It's been good. It was great last year. And Corey, I also agree with you that if anyone had listened to Rich and I enough last year, the lefty righty, balance is something that's great, but like it doesn't matter if no one's hitting.
Yep.
The other thing is that they have these essentially 10 starters. And until someone either gets hurt, no one's going to get into rhythm. Like, these guys need to play. Baseball is a game you play every day. And if you're not playing every day, you're going to get out of rhythm, and they need to figure what that is. And if that means like a true platoon of, like we were saying, Gallo and Torres, and that's what you do, Get the other guys in the lineup every day.
Comments are lit once again on Twitch here. We got with Jay Hertz 122. Higashioka is really good at framing, though. Thank God, because the guy can't hit his weight. Actually, Trevino has been a very solid framer as well, buying a lot of